So recently, Glenn Fricker over at Spectrasound made a video in response to a comment on his channel from a guy saying that amps can also make a big impact on the guitar tone, and mentioned the 5150 and Dual Rectifier as examples. Glenn decided to do a video challenging this and was not exactly subtle in his thoughts about the comment and people that think this way.
It's not the amp,
Glenn then compared his own 5150 and Dual Rectifier, and this leads to why I decided to make this video to begin with.
Just listen to the gigantic difference between a 5150 and a Mesa Dual Rectifier. Now let me play you the second amp. But Glenn, that was the same clip. Yes, it was. And I switched out the amp halfway through on both examples. Did you even notice?
The amps in his clip sound nearly identical, and then he shows the EQ comparison charts to show how similar they are, except I have both of these amplifiers. I have a lot of experience with them. I record with them a lot and have done back-to-back recordings, and they sound really different from each other, so I started to become kind of suspicious here. Len then asked what the commenter based his opinion off of and accuses the guy of making the claim baselessly, saying he must have just been messing around in a room with some amps instead of doing a proper comparison.
You'd say 40% amp? Based off of what? What you pulled out of your ass? Did you bother to record anything? Did you take any frequency response graphs? Or is all this just based off you fucking around with a few amps in a room somewhere?
Well, funny enough, the guy that left the comment has a YouTube channel and made a response video to Glenn's where he did a test where everything was exactly the same except the amp. And his results were much different and much more what I would expect from working with my own Dual Rectifier in 6505.
He made damn well sure that those were so closely tone matched, and then declares they both sound the same? No, how about mine?
So that sounds quite a bit different from Glenn's results. But just to be sure, I decided to make the same comparison with my own Dual Rectifier Rev G and my 6505 1992 original. Just like Glenn, I'm boosting the amps, except I'm going to be using a Fortin modded TS9, and both amps are going to be going into my 2Notes Captor X, and I have my own custom IR of a DV77. It's mostly that DV77, but there is a little bit of a VM1265 blended in. And in post, I'm just going to have a high and low pass filter with a notch at 4K to get rid of that harsh whistle that comes with high gain guitars, and nothing else. Now my results here seem to match the results of Kaddy's Jam Cave, and it's honestly what I expect from these amps. Here, I'll even EQ match them with the Fab filter so you can get an idea of just how different these are and what you would need to do with an EQ to match these, and to show that they're nowhere near as subtly different as Glenn's EQ charts were making them out to be. Honestly, this probably wasn't the smartest thing to assume that the guy didn't have any direct comparisons or the ability to do that, especially in this day and age when many of us have DAWs, load boxes, impulse responses, and ways of recording. And it really wasn't smart to claim that two very well-known and popular amplifiers that just about everyone has either experience with or owns directly sound identical. Makes this part of Glenn's video a little bit ironic.
Kaddy, while I appreciate you attempting to challenge me to a battle of wits, a word of advice. Next time, don't show up unarmed.
Ironic.
I mean, come on, dude, that was kind of just rude and uncalled for, seriously. I wanted to make this video because what Glenn had put out just didn't sit right with me and didn't match not just what I felt, but what I could demonstrate with my own amplifiers in a setting where everything is literally identical except the amplifier. I can't say for sure that I know Glenn did something to the amp sound to make them closer before showing the EQ charts or showing us the in mixes, but he definitely was being misleading with how much an amp can change the guitar tone, because clearly it can change it quite drastically even with the same speaker. Now, I get that he wants to be a consumer advocate and that speakers are the biggest factor in tone. He's not wrong, and he wants to stress that, and that's laudable. I mean, he's not wrong. And it's going to save a lot of people a lot of headache if they just want to maybe try a different cabinet or a different speaker instead of, buying 1,000,001 amps. But to try and push something that's not really true or even mislead and be dishonest and being needlessly insulting on top of that just isn't great. It bothered me enough to make my own comparison, and he challenged people to go ahead and do their own tests. So here I am, here's the guy that made the original video, and they differ with you, Glenn. Look, I didn't want to make this to attack you or to start drama. I'm here because I want to celebrate cool gear, and I want to give people the best knowledge possible. And I don't think it's good to have a bunch of people running around thinking all amps sound identical if you just run them through the same cabinet and speaker. It's definitely going to be a better idea for people if they are looking for different sounds to try different speaker and cab combinations before trying 1,000,001 different amps. But clearly the amps can have a big impact too, and amps are awesome. I'll have links down below so you can watch Glenn's video as well as the response that was done by Kaddy's Jam Cave. I hope that some people at least found this, at least informative. That's all I hope, as I always want to try and be informative on this channel. But I don't want to cause drama. I don't want anyone to go over to comments and leave nasty comments, or people to come over here and leave nasty comments. I'm really not trying to start drama. Again, it just didn't sit right with me, and I felt like I needed to say something.